Microsoft Copilot can contribute to your personal branding efforts in a really big way. It can ride alongside of you as you are creating your content, as you're evaluating your content, and it can give you information about your content that you otherwise might not have. What I'm going to do is show you how I'm using Microsoft Copilot within the Edge browser. And this is a really easy way to get into the use of AI as you create content. Now, I'm using Microsoft Edge, and I mentioned that because Copilot is available to me right up here in the upper right-hand corner. So when I hover over or click on that, Microsoft Copilot is right there to assist me. The other thing I want to mention is I am using the free version of Microsoft Copilot. So if you see this, you're interested in using Copilot and you don't use the Edge browser and you don't have a Copilot account, you can install Edge, get access to it just like this. So the very first thing I want to use Microsoft Copilot about is to understand what it takes to build a personal brand inside of my company. So I'm going to go up into Copilot. I'm going to ask it, what 5 tips about personal branding should I follow when I'm building my personal brand within my company? And let's see what Copilot tells us. All right, Copilot is telling us to be authentic, define your brand. I love this idea about uniqueness, what sets you apart. What values you have, your contributions, creating and sharing content, which is what this video series is all about, networking, and aligning with organizational initiatives. So the organizational initiatives is a really important thing, obviously, that you talk about that. Now, we're going to talk about creating content, and I've talked a lot about that in these videos. But what you can actually do is reference material others have written, so you can share that out with people in your company. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close down Copilot for a moment. I'm in my SharePoint site, but I'm going to go to another page here. This is a Microsoft page that talks about how AI can help you banish bad meetings. And so when I publish this, I don't just want to post a link to this article. I want to post information that people might find valuable and say, here's some insights into this, and then they can determine whether they read this article or not. So I'm going to use Copilot for that. So I'll open back up Copilot, and I'm going to prompt it with summarize this article into 4 bullet points with a single introductory sentence for a blog post. So, and I've asked it to make the introduction sentence funny. All right, so Copilot has given me its summary of this particular article as a blog post. So I can go in, copy this out, and paste it into where I want to post this and share this with people. Now I'm going to ask Copilot to give me some insight into an article that I'm actually writing. So I'm writing an article, and it's going to be about learning a musical instrument in middle school. And I'm going to ask Copilot, I'm writing an article about the benefits of learning to play a musical instrument. And I have some items here, and I'm asking for an 8-word title for my video, or my blog post. So I can say, I want a title that is a little bit funny or a little bit this or that or very professional. Give me a title that is going to reflect the information that I've told you my article is about. I haven't even written the article yet, but I want this to give me a catchy 8-word title. So it's given me Harmony Unleashed Middle School Musicians Triumphs. So that's a pretty good description there. But I'm going to ask for another one. So I'm going to say, create 6 more. And because I'm referencing again the previous statement, and I've just said create some titles, it's going to go out and create 6 more titles that are potentially the appropriate titles for my article that I'm writing about learning a musical instrument. So what I'm going to do now is I have a previous article that I've written that is about Microsoft Copilot and Teams. This is a blog post that I posted on my SharePoint site already. Now I'm going to go to Copilot, and I want to know, is this a challenging article for people to read? Is it too long, or how many words are in this article? So this says, according to my word count, this article has 1,003 words. It includes the title, subtitles, and source citations. So that's a pretty useful thing to know. Is this a really lengthy article? Is this something that I need to rewrite, or that I need to explain more about? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and say, do I use any acronyms in this article that I should explain? Again, because I'm using Edge, It's referencing the article just to the left. It says I'm using some acronyms I may need to explain. ISV, LOB, I use the term AI. And so this is an article about those three things and more. So this has, because it's a corporate audience, independent software vendor should be understood. LOB certainly should be understood by corporate. And then artificial intelligence is, that's the standard today to talk about. So what I'm going to do is get a little bit more information about this article. And I'm going to write this prompt, rate this article on these qualities. Is it easy to read? Is the language informal and accessible to most people? And on average, how long would it take someone to read it? So Copilot is telling me the ease of readability is overall, it's pretty easy to read. Informal and accessible. The tone of the article is informal and conversational, avoids jargon. Acronyms are explained, so that is increasing the accessibility and understandability of the article. And lastly, the read time, on average, it might take 5 to 6 minutes. And so I know, well, that's about the right amount of time that I would want someone to spend on this. Now, one thing that I need to pay attention to is the wording that I use and the terminology that I use. So one of the things that's interesting is these generational differences are unfolding inside of our organizations. You need to make sure that you are addressing not just your generation, but others. So for Generation Z, those are people that are, I think it's 12 years old to about 26 years old right now when this video is being made. So I'm going to include some Gen Z terms, and I'm going to say, can you recommend an online Gen Z slang dictionary? So I want to kind of embed the article maybe with some Gen Z slang. So here's some ideas. The dictionaries, Gen Z slang, Gen Z dictionary. It even gives some examples of some terminology that I might consider using. Now, the last thing I want to use Copilot for here is to evaluate the article in a different way. So instead of asking for some terminology in a dictionary, why don't I ask it to recommend some changes to the article? This will allow me to make sure that the article is bussin' so people think it slaps when they read it and it's on fleek. So I'm going to ask Copilot, how can I make this article as bussin' as possible so it's on fleek? So Copilot's coming back and saying, let's make this article straight fire. Got a dope title, intro flex, have a savage subtitles, emoji extravaganza. I haven't added emoji, so I probably need to do that. And it makes some recommendations on the article to the left so I can make sure it is that it's as bussin' as possible. So that's the use of Microsoft Copilot for my creation of my personal brand within my organization. I can focus on articles I've written, articles I'm going to write, titles, video titles, maybe a summarization of the content of a video so I can put a description in the bottom part of the video and stream. So that's a really useful way, and it makes my work so much easier and so much faster to use Copilot for that. So make sure to join me in my next video in this series, which will be video 4. I'll be talking about using Microsoft Designer and Clipchamp to create attractive video thumbnails and graphics, and how to create an artificial voice so you can share your message even if you can't stand your voice on a recording. So join me for the next one, and I'll see you then.